Thank you very much. That opening piece was entitled The Pittsburgh Overture, written by Philip Spark, who is one of the great band arrangers and composers for the British-style brass band music. Featured the low brass at the beginning, and then it was just a wonderful piece with the cornets. It's just a fabulous overture. Unfortunately, there's no program notes because there's none available. I could not find any on this piece. I even wrote Philip Spark, but he hasn't replied yet. So hopefully someday I'll get a return email, so I'll know what to say about this piece. By the way, we are the Hoosier Brass Band. My name is Bill Schmidt. I'm the conductor, and Glenn Welch is my, what do we call it, director's bandmaster, and Glenn is my deputy bandmaster. We're trying to use the tradition of the Salvation Army band. So anyway, Glenn will be up on the podium in just a little bit conducting one of his pieces called The Pilgrim Way. But the next piece we have is entitled Cantilena, and is written by Philip Spark again. It's going to feature a beautiful solo on the flugelhorn, and just goes all through the band on the solos. It was originally written for a competition in Norway in a town called Skien in 2011, and is based on just some folk hymns that they have. And it was part of a competition they have that in Skien, where they have 3 concerts. There's a church concert, then there's a written test piece, and then they have a program that they do all on their own so that they can show off the band. And it's totally up to them what they play on this. Well, the Cantilena was part of the requirements for the church concert. It's a beautiful melody, and hope you enjoy Cantilena by Philip Spark. Thank you very much. The next piece is another Spark piece, as you notice in your program. It's called Scaramouche. And this was written, I think, in 2007 in that range for Katrina Marcella. And she was a young and up-and-coming baritone player. Larry, hold up your baritone. This is a baritone. It's the same length as a euphonium, but it's a smaller bore and wrapped a little bit tighter. But today, the solo is going to be performed by our principal euphonium player, Sean Cassane, on euphonium. And it's going to feature like a slow section, like a rock ballad, then it goes into a 6/8 like a march. So with further ado, here is Sean Cassane on Philip Sparks' Scaramouche. Hey, Sean. Well, I think Sean had a couple notes in that piece, don't you? He had a few. Okay, I'd like to bring up the deputy bandmaster, Glenn Welch, and he's going to conduct The Pilgrim Way by Eric Ball. And I forgot my notes on this. Hang on just a second. Got to find it real quick. So for this one, the first two movements of The Pilgrim Way, as a pilgrim song and invocation, are based on the composer's own settings to poems by John Bunyan. He would be Valiant Bee and John of Forsyth from the 16th century. God Be in My Head, the third movement, makes its own appeal by the title of Joy of Heart. Nevertheless, it has had in mind the medieval pilgrims, but the spiritual application of the idea is just as definitely suited to present-day travelers on the road to the shining city. So here's Glenn Welch conducting The Pilgrim Way by Eric Ball, and I got to grab my horn, so hang on just a second. put it. Sorry about that. Yeah, I see that too. Yeah. Okay, well, I'll just stay down here for a second. Hang on. Thanks for pointing that out to me. Okay, Aspects of Praise. This is written by William Himes. It's his original composition based on some hymn tunes. It says the piece is composed in 4 movements with an introduction. The movements are praise and joy, praise and meditation, praise and sadness and persecution, and finally the last one is praise and fellowship. It's based on a hymn, Amazon, to which are associated the words, "Oh, for 1,000 tongues to sing my great Redeemer's praise." This expansive work seeks to depict various moods, scenes, and emotions associated with Christian worship. The motives are extracted from the melody and transformed into new themes or variants, which vividly portray the aspect of each movement. And I'm sure I didn't talk long enough for them to be happy with me. Is that okay? We all right? Okay. They need to get the blood back in their lips every now and then, so it is brass playing after all. Okay, so here is William Himes' Aspects of Praise. Well, that was just a little exciting, right? Yeah, that's my wife Ellen plays flugelhorn in the band, and that's our favorite piece we've ever played. I think is that Haim's Aspects of Praise. It's just a gorgeous piece, and what a powerful ending it has to it. So, thank you very much for that applause. We tried to feature some of the soloists by having them stand up first, but just a quick breather for the band here. Ed, would you hold up your horn, please? Ed is playing on a cornet. It's not a trumpet. We don't use trumpets in the brass band. It's all cornets. And Brian, on the other end there, he plays what we call the E-flat soprano cornet. It's a little bit smaller than Ed's, much higher pitch, and like anybody knows the Highlander series, there can be only one in a band. Trust me. He can carry the whole band with just that one horn in his hands. And so we go back now to Ellen, if she'll stand up, hold up her horn. That's the flugelhorn. Most of us remember us Chuck Mangione from the 70s playing that on Was It Feel So Good. That was the horn that he used on all of his recordings, was a flugelhorn. And next to her is Larry Perdue, and Larry Perdue is playing on what we call, in brass banding tradition, is called a tenor horn. In Salvation Army tradition, it's called an alto horn. It's pitched in E-flat. It's between the trumpet and the baritones, so it's not like a French horn. Anybody knows a French horn is the same length as an F tuba. It's 12 feet 3 and 4 inches long. It's just it's really a weird instrument, but it plays great. It sounds great. But we use tenor horns in this band. And if Larry Lawhead would stand up, please. Larry, as I showed you before, is playing on what we call a British-style baritone. It's the same length as euphonium, but it sounds a little bit tighter core sound. It's a little more nimble in the high register, and they are the bottom of the alto voices in the band. The alto voices are flugel, the tenor horns, and the two baritones. And of course, the soprano voices are the cornets. Next to him, as you heard, or next to, on the very end here, Sean Cassane, as you heard him play the solo, that's a euphonium. And that's the same length as a baritone, but has a bigger sound, and is quite nimble, as you heard him play. Back in the other section, in the first trombone section, we have Paul Bork playing a tenor trombone, and Jason is also on a tenor trombone, but on the very end is Heather Miller playing on a bass trombone, and she's that big fat sound you heard down there in the bottom of the trombone section. She's a great player. Back in the tuba section, Joe will stand up. Joe is playing on an E-flat bass. They call them basses in brass band, not tubas. So that's an E-flat bass, and on the and Bill Rowe, would you stand up? And Bill is playing on the other flavor of tubas we use is a B-flat tuba. And everybody, just so you know, if anybody knows music, everybody in the band plays in treble clef. What's he doing? He's being funny. They all play in treble clef except for the timpani plays in bass clef and the bass trombone plays in bass clef. Everybody else is playing in treble clef. And then, of course, we have the percussionists, the full range percussion, xylophone, bass drum. We have Sarah playing on the cymbals right now. Alex was playing the marimba, or the xylophone a little bit, and Greg back there, animal on the drum set back there is Greg Huckleberry. So that's our band and what the instruments we played. Did I talk long enough after that one? That was 16 minutes of a lot of playing, so I need to give him just a little bit of a breather. So what's next we have? Oh, yeah, Ed, how old is your horn? It's 140 years old, Ed's horn. It's a vintage brass cornet. And yeah, he got it when he was a young kid, yes, of course. What's that? Okay. Next up we have is brass bands in England are famous for their marches. They play marches all the time. In fact, Whit Friday is a competition where the bands all pile onto a bus. They drive city to city, and they'll play a march for a contest. And the one who gets the most votes throughout the thing wins the trophy at the end. Of course, the problem with the bus is they usually stop at the pub between each city. So by the time they get to the last city playing, let's say they're a little loose, you know. They're not. It's a little untidy, as they might say. So this is Honest Toil by William Rimmer. He is like the Sousa of brass banding in the United Kingdom. He wrote many brass arrangements for marches. He composed them. He didn't arrange them. He composed lots and lots of marches. So they refer to him, like I said, as the Sousa of the brass band in England. And this one, he was originally from Southport, England, and not too much available on him, but he was a drummer at first, then he became a cornet player, and he wound up being the solo cornet in his brass band. So here we go with Honest Toil by William Rimmer. mic down here. Sorry about that. Yeah, give me a work. Give them a chance to breathe. Okay. Ryan? Are we on? There we go. So this next piece is a major work for...
Wait a minute, Bill.
What's it? Brian,
What's
the matter? What's going on?
I have a protest. I think it's time that I should play a solo.
A solo for...
Yeah. 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 Thank you. I sit at the end of the row. I've noticed that people who sit at the end of the row play solos. Sean's at the end of the row. He played a solo. Ed plays a solo like every piece we play.
Yeah.
Brian plays solo. You know, Paul, everybody at the end of the row. I sit at the end of the row. I should play solo.
Yeah, Brian, I know you sit actually at the wrong end of the section. You're last chair, second tenor horn, and I'm not sure, I'm sure that's for a reason.
My point still stands. I'm at the end of the row.
I'm sure that's by no accident.
Yeah. Well, what are you trying to imply there, Bill?
I'm not trying to imply anything. I think I'm saying it outright.
Okay.
Well, I don't know of any solo written for second horn. I'm sorry, Brian.
I happen to have written one last night. I have it right here.
You wrote one?
Yeah. I have it. Need that. I have it right here.
Okay, let me take a look at this. All right.
I think we could play this.
Okay. Solo secondo, major work for second horn and band.
Yep.
Oh, wow, look at that. 8 notes and everything.
Yep,
Wow.
yep.
That's pretty cool. Well, I'll tell you what, Brian, we'll practice this when we get back to the rehearsal space.
No, I think we're ready to play it today. I already passed out all the parts. You guys
got
got all
the
the
parts?
parts? Yeah. I think they're ready to go. I think it's my time, Bill.
Okay, Brian. Well, here is solo secondo.
Keep going. Keep going.
A major work for second horn and band featuring Dr. Brian White on tenor horn, a legend in his own mind.
Yeah, well, we'll see. Turn the mic off.
Okay, folks, no guarantees. Don't encourage him. He still has to get his head out through the door yet. Well, that featured obviously Dr. Brian White on the second tenor horn, solo secondo, a major work for tenor horn band written by Bill Himes. So we wanted to feature Brian, and we thought that was a nice little piece to feature him on because he is actually second tenor horn. So he doesn't get much solo work. So good for Brian. Stand up, Brian. Well, I hope you enjoyed that one. That was a lot of fun. Our last piece, Turris Fortissima, is written by Stephen Ponsford. And I left my notes down there again, didn't I? Sorry about that. I want to get the title right here as far as the subtitle. It stands for, Turris Fortissima is known as the name of Jehovah in our strongest tower, so it's written as a piece to depict the towers around Plymouth, England, to protect the city. And this piece was written by Stephen Ponsford. He's a big-time arranger and composer for brass band music. And this is kind of a barn burner. It only lasts about 5.5 minutes, but it's a barn burner. So hope you enjoy Turris Fortissima by Stephen Ponsford. And I think I'm still getting signals to talk a little longer. But that's all I got, so we're going to go. Well, folks, if you haven't guessed, that's all. They're pretty tired. We went about 20 minutes longer than we normally do. We usually do an hour concert. This turned out to be an hour and 20, so they held up pretty well. So what'd you think of that last tune? A lot of fun, wasn't it? Well, I hope you enjoyed this is only our third ever concert of this band. We started this brass band back in June of 2022, and this is only our third concert. We had one in June, one in October, now in March. And we're working on the date for the next one. Brian and I are talking, and we're looking at June 11th for our next concert. So hopefully we'll get that on the website for St. Mark's. So for any updates, if you want to check on the band, check the St. Mark's United Methodist Church Facebook page, right, Brian? And you can see the schedule there and see when we're going to play next. But we're playing on June 11th if we can work it out. So, again, thank you very much for coming out. Thank you for applying for these great, fabulous musicians, and thank you.